I want to thank you, fam, for asking me my question back to me, and I want to give you just my straight answers here. I'm gonna be straight. I'm always gonna be straight with you, what I think and how I feel about stuff. And anyway, so right now there's a couple things going on through my mind. First off, this nation is already under trauma right now, and to see a massive we're going through this pandemic and all the massive issues that have happened from it, from people losing their jobs to suicide, domestic violence, child abuse, all going up right now because of being locked at home in the quarantine. People are already at the brink. And then to see a video, an actual video of a person being killed as they're saying, "I can't breathe." You're talking about a massive trauma across the nation that many people are feeling. So right now, I feel mourning in that. I feel that there's too much to be going on right now for folks not to take into account that the raw emotions they're feeling are definitely things that are convoluted with a whole lot of other stuff. So it's all playing into each other in itself. I'm stuttering, just want to get this stuff out. And it's making me think right now, like, what's the most opportune time to cause division, especially as we're already divided over freaking masks and going outside and stuff. Now let's divide on race. Good Lord, man, it's like this could only be, let's let aliens and freaking squirrel monkeys with machine guns come out the freaking woodwork. They'll be even better this would be like the perfect time for that, right? But it's not. And we're dealing with the loss of a black guy who looks like killed by a police officer while he's yelling that he can't breathe. I mean, you have to understand, that is terrible. I mean, it's terrible. And to feel the flames why not think through a different method of subduing the individual? I mean, you're a police officer. You guys have training in how to deal with unruly individuals, and to not use any other method of training in that was completely unwise and completely uncalled for, and it just fueled the flames of a lot more things right now that don't need to be fueled. That is causing chaos. I'm praying for Minneapolis right now. That place is about to go off the chain because folks are going to be upset, and they have justifiably every reason to be upset. But anyway, let me get back onto this, okay? For his family, George's family, and also the same thing with Ahmad's family as well too. These people have gone through massive trauma, and I'm glad that I kept silent about what I thought about the Ahmad thing and him being killed as well too, because I wanted to see justice being meted out, and actually he's being meted out. So I feel much better about my silence because I didn't want to just speak into something. I didn't know who those guys were that did the killing, as well as the person that was doing the videotaping. It seemed like something to me, and I just wanted to be wise about my response to it. So I kept silent. But the thing in my silence that I noticed was that folks started blaming certain individuals, and it started coming out in ways that were really unhealthy, and that's what I'm seeing right now as well too. In fact, some of my friends are apologizing for being white and stuff like that. You have nothing to be apologizing for, okay? There's nothing to be apologizing for. Please don't do that. Don't accept somebody else's actions as your own. They're not your own. They're somebody else's. That's not. You're responsible for yourself, and that's it. I'm responsible for me as one black dude. I ain't responsible for everything that black people do. I'm just telling you that straight up and for real, okay? Now, the other part about this is, as a black person seeing that, it is terrible, because believe me, I've never taken my skin color as being something of a curse. That's something of I don't even get into theology, and some people take that as a theology of black being a curse. Yeah, you don't want to get into it. But anyway, what I'm going to say is this, is that my skin will never be a hindrance to me. My skin has helped me to understand who it is that I am as a man, and also what I represent. Now, I love that people will pray for black men. Please do. Because the one thing that I've always understood as being black privilege, because there is black privilege, is I've understood what it means to persevere. Black people have done this for centuries and have led in nations, especially this nation and others, through periods of massive turmoil by perseverance, by their integrity, and by their character. And my heart in this is this: when people see me, they may not just see my ethnicity. They see somebody else in my character as well too. My character was completely different about 14 years ago. And then God got into my life, and then I started recognizing what sin actually was. So the whole game got flipped up. But that's the other part of this that I have to recognize as well too. If you're not wanting to recognize it there and be under the realization, the truth, that people commit sin and they do sin and have sin within them, you just witnessed it right there, and that guy putting his knee into the back of George's neck, that was sin, and that was coming out of that man, and that led to death. James chapter 1 talks all about that. When sin is birthed, it leads to death, and that leads to that man's death. And that's terrible. And now what's happening now, the nation's more divided about all types of stuff. And it's no good. None of it's good. And so what is my thought about this? I mourn. I mourn for that man. I mourn for Ahmaud. I mourn for George. I mourn for the city of Minneapolis. I mourn for black people in their hearts right now. I mourn for white folks who have taken on the white guilt that's being pressed upon them for what their ethnicity actually is. I'm not a person that's going to do that to you, nor do I think that you need to own that. You own yourself. But this is my heart in this. I'm going to go through the process of going through mourning for that man, and I'm going to pray for his family, and I'm going to pray for you as well too. My heart is that I want you to understand that despite everything that we see right now, I know that folks need hope, okay? They need hope in a manner that comes not from human beings, because there can be corrupt cops. I got so many friends in the police departments all throughout the state of California, sheriffs, SDPD, CHP, SAC PD, other states as well too. I know that there are good cops out there because I've got some friends who are good cops. I also know that there are bad cops, that there are bad engineers, and I could tell you all about bad pastors, dude. Let me tell you about that one. So I know that in the human heart there is corruption. The human heart is filled with sin. And what happens is when that sin is not dealt with, you take that sin and it comes out of you in ways that manifest in some of the most unhealthy forms. And what we saw was that happening right through that police officer onto that black man's neck. So right now what I'm doing is I'm controlling my emotions, because my process is always included for such a long time, me going to my therapist, working out the issues that I had, especially with anger, and knowing that I had to deal with this stuff one emotion at a time. My recommendation is that same thing for you. Deal with your emotions one emotion at a time. Don't try to take it all in at once. Don't try to take responsibility for things that aren't yours to take responsibility for. Take your emotions one at a time and move through them like you move through a process of mourning. This was a traumatic event that we all witnessed via video. It is terrible, it is scary, it is also just so heartbreaking. So move through your emotions and let that sink in. You witnessed a traumatic event while you're in the side of a traumatic event with COVID. So there's all types of things compounded right now, and it is not good. So I recommend, if you got a therapist, you don't have one, man, start making some phone calls, because it's going to be really well for your mental stability. And this is what I've been talking about this whole time. The mental stability of this nation is on the brink right now, and I think that it's being pushed beyond that for purposes that are way beyond you and me as the regular folks. You need to know, we all need to know, that there's good out there in people that go beyond the evil that we've seen. There's evil out there as well too, but you have to be good. You have to have that in your heart, and you have to press through and persevere. This is what I believe that black people have shown throughout so much time in our history. I'm standing on the shoulders of men and women who died for me to be able to live where I live, to live how I live, to have the job that I have, and I do not take it for granted at all. And I understand too that I'm shown as a representative of my ethnicity, who I am as a person by my character, and I want to show good character. And that's why my character had to change when Christ came into my life. And believe me, my character was no bueno before. And now I have this opportunity now, and I can talk to you just plainly. What you witness right now is evil manifests itself through a person. And my hope for you is that you would see that, understand that not only do people need redemption, they also need to be forgiven. And that's the place that I had to come from, and that's my process. How can I, in my heart, work through this so that I do not own what just happened, what I saw on video? How can I do that? And I want to help you with that as well too, if you're willing. But please, do not accept things that are not yours to accept. Walk through your emotions one at a time and be good to yourself, especially as you're in trauma on top of trauma, okay? I'm in mourning, you might be in mourning too. That's how I'm taking this, and that's where I'm going with this. I need to walk through my mourning the way that I'm gonna walk through it. You have yours, and I've got mine as well. You've got your method of dealing with it, and I've got a method of dealing with mine. And I'm not going to knock you for yours. So please, God bless you, keep your head straight, and don't let people tell you what you should or should not be doing in dealing with this. Just walk through your emotions and stay safe, okay?